So now let's move to other pieces of information that were just sprinkled out throughout the Yamamoto sweepstakes. During the winter meetings, John Heyman reported that the Mets had discussions with outfielder Michael A. Taylor among 5 other teams. Taylor is 32 years old and coming off a solid season with the Twins, smashing a career-high 21 home runs and slashing 220, 278, 442 with a 96 WRC plus across 388 plate appearances. When asked about the Mets outfield situation, Stearns said that the Mets can stand to add to the outfield this offseason, but it can come from a variety of skill sets. Stearns has revealed that the Mets have been surveying the free agent market and the trade market to fill the area. Other reports regarding the Mets outfield have linked them to trade targets such as Rays outfielder Manuel Margot and Red Sox outfielder Alex Verdugo before he was traded to the Yankees, as the Mets were among 3 other teams interested. The Mets have also been linked to the likes of Harrison Bader, Kevin Kiermaier, and have expressed interest in KBO free agent outfielder Jung-Ho Lee. Multiple reports have suggested this as a 4th outfielder search that could possibly start in a pinch due to the uncertainty of Starling Marte going forward.
Michael A. Taylor is a guy that, another who's not really too high on my priority list, on my wish list, so to speak. Number one, the age, that definitely is a factor. The guy is going to be turning 33. So, like we talk about, best years are probably behind you. This was the first time we saw Michael Taylor pass the 20 home run threshold this past season with Minnesota. So it's not like he's this prolific year in, year out, 25 to 30 home run bat compared to plenty of other guys who are available on the market right now. That's probably the thing that frustrates me the most. But second thing, what frustrates me the most is you talked about, okay, well, 4th outfielder, maybe fills in if Starling Marte is not healthy and fully ready to go. My question is, who the heck is playing left field for the New York Mets? Who? Because if Michael A. Taylor's who you're signing, there's your starting left fielder. What are we doing here, folks? I mean, again, as a 4th outfielder, I'm good with it. But there is a scary reality that this guy might end up being an everyday starter for you. And to me, that can't happen if there are guys like Jorge Soler and Teoscar Hernandez and Jock Peterson and others available right now. And it's like we say, why do you look for the second option? You're Steve Cohen. We're not talking about $100 million deal here. You're not going to have to pay something crazy to get a Soler or someone like that. So for me, it's like, how about actually getting the guys who fit what this team needs? Even the Jung-Ho Lee, I'm not overly excited about it. I mean, here's another guy who not a big power bat. We know this team needs that. I just don't think that these guys are as good of fits as some other guys who are also on the available market right now. So to me, if he's a 4th outfielder, sure, but with the way things have been going, he might end up being more than that, and I would not be signing him to that.
If this was a 4th outfielder, fine. Power tools, loves to put the ball in play. The problem is, like you just said, who is going to be playing left field? I really don't know. And I hope that if the Mets are actually looking at this from the approach that I'm hoping, they're adding depth right now to the chart while they wait for Yoshi Yamamoto. And I'm hoping that this is the approach that the Mets go for. If it's not, we're going to have a big problem. I hope that the Mets do get linked to Jorge Soler, who can play the outfield. I hope that they do get linked to Teoscar Hernandez. I hope that they do get linked to pieces that can play the outfield, but also can provide you some power. Michael A. Taylor can give you something, but it's 4th outfielder value on a contending team. I think that Michael A. Taylor is a good piece that you can add to this roster, but he can't be the only one. I think it's pretty much been established here that you can't add Michael A. Taylor as the only outfield piece. It can't just be one freaking guy. The Mets need at least 2 outfielders that they need to add. If one of them is Michael A. Taylor, sure. Other than that, another one, they need somebody who definitely has a little bit more projecting tools. The problem with the Harrison Bader, the problem with the Kevin Kiermaier, the problem with even Jung-Ho Lee, who I think fucking sucks. Again, this is kind of on the same level of Michael A. Taylor, but like why. Kevin Kiermaier, I don't even know why he keeps getting linked to the Mets, and I hope he never becomes a Met ever. It's very interesting to see them being linked to some starting caliber pieces and then also some guys who most likely will come off the bench. Like Michael A. Taylor's a starting caliber player on most teams. And then you had Alex Verdugo also that they were linked to before he was traded as well. So they're looking at a market right now of so many different possibilities. And I'm hoping that it doesn't mean that they're going to come out with one of all of these possibilities. I need them to do something else other than just Michael A. Taylor or Kevin Kiermaier, or they need to do more than one, because all offseason I've been looking at this as the Mets need 2 outfielders. They have needed 2 outfielders from the very beginning, ever since they traded away Tommy Pham, ever since the whole news with Starling Marte, Mark Canha. Outfield is pretty empty. I love DJ Stewart. I think he's a decent bat, but I don't want to see him in my opening day line.
Well, he might be your opening day lineup at DH with the rate they're going, because that's the thing, is that even if you sign Soler and if you don't make an outfielder, now you need 3 players. So it's interesting how they're going to figure this one out.
I get the fear of you want positional versatility, you want tools, and you're trying to stay away from the Vogelbach. You're trying to stay of the guys who are one-dimensional, but I feel like there's another dimension that they're kind of trying to avoid, and it's just been avoided for a long time. And Michael A. Taylor, 20 home runs last year. On a good day, he's giving you 14, 15, whatever. But I don't think that this is the one where you're okay, yeah, if this is your 4th outfielder, sure. This is someone who can give you elite defense. This is someone who can run the bases very well. 32, if it's a 1-year deal, 2-year deal with an option or whatever, fine. But this can't be it. This can't be the only thing that they do to this outfield, because, again, I understand having somebody that can play center field because of the injury concerns you'll always have with Nimmo. Also give me some other tools as well where they can actually hit and they can actually do something other than just catch a ball.
And I wonder, the other thing they consider is, we talked about third base thing and how I wonder if they're taking the approach of, well, who knows, maybe by middle of the season, maybe, Clifford's ready or Gilbert's ready or something like that. And they look at that as, we added, like Andrew likes to call it, a trade deadline piece, but it's really that they just called up one of these corner outfitters if things get that bad. So it's like we talk about, not another position where there's a lot of major league ready depth. So if injuries do happen, especially someone like Starling Marte, that might be the direction they're turning.
The thing is that there's a lot of major league ready depth on the free agent market right now that the Mets can go after, of corner outfielders with a lot of power. And that's the thing. I just don't think that there's a reason to actually to ignore it. I don't see any possibility where you can ignore it, especially when you have a hole in the outfield and you have uncertainty with Starling Marte. You have a bunch of corner outfielders who can play the outfield decently, give you value there, and also provide you power, which you have lacked for so goddamn long. I just don't understand how it can't be just screaming at you that the Mets really need to address this position. But again, Michael A. Taylor, good addition. I'm not mad at it, but if that's going to be a starting outfielder, there is going to be a problem. But I'm giving Stearns the benefit of the doubt of how I think that he's addressing the depth and trying to make the roster deeper right now before they wait on Yamamoto. But right now, there is still a lot of position players that the Mets really need to address. And Joey Wendell cannot be the only one.
And that's what scares me, is that you look at the previous Milwaukee teams, they've always been power scarce, and they've always needed an extra jolt of offense. And you know what? It's like I said in my video with Soto, I'm like, you have Steve Cohen now. There's no excuse. The guys, like I said, are literally right there to fit your team perfectly, especially Teoscar Hernandez. They fit your team perfectly. And no link at all, no discussions, no meetings.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what the Mets are linked to after the whole Yamamoto situation goes through. And, that's the main thing about pretty much what's going on all offseason so far. Mets fans need to relax. Just relax, all right? Just relax, okay? We know what their big fish is, and that's going to determine their offseason, okay? He still has 13 spots to fill on his roster. It's not like Yamamoto is the only guy to go after right now. Just relax. Again, and I'm going to say this one more time. if you did not want an offseason like this, where they're being savvy and they're trying to build from tools and they're trying to build from projection, don't hire Billy Epler. Like, literally right now, you're literally just trying to clean up Billy Epler's mess that he has completely created. I mean, what else is an explanation for that? The Mets have just completely cheaped out and Steve Cohen's broke? I mean, come on.